Hello, welcome to Mr. B's Ukulele channel. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy watching.
This is my tutorial for When You're Smiling, written originally in 1928 and then famously recorded by Louis Armstrong in 1929 and much more recently by Michael Buble in 2001. So this is a popular song that gets recorded again and again, and today it's my version, which is very similar to the original Louis Armstrong version, and it's going to be a mix of some just nice strumming without singing, and then we're going to do some singing with it as well. This is a really lovely sort of love ballad, and this is one I also filmed the sing-along for on my trip to the Isle of Wight, so look out for that coming soon, and that was filmed at a place called Gurnard just outside Cowes on the Isle of Wight. So I hope you enjoy that video, which will be out shortly. Here's my tutorial. Let's get into it. Be happy again, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. So this is another level 3 song. It is not a particularly difficult challenge. There's just a few things we need to be aware of with it. We're going to have a look at the chords first of all. There's a few unusual chords that we don't play a lot of, but there's not any difficult chords in this. We're going to look at the strumming. There's a few different strumming patterns we need to be aware of, but again, nothing challenging. So there's quite a bit of variety in this song, but nothing too difficult to get our heads around. So we'll look at the chords, then the strumming, and then I'll look at the layout of the song and give a little bit of a demo as well. Okay, here we go. So for the chords, we've got a few different chords, but nothing too tricky, like I say. It starts on a G, normal G, then it goes to a G major 7, not a G minor 7, a G major 7, which is what the capital M stands for. If it was a G minor 7, that'd be a small m. You might not know that, but lowercase letters mean minor, uppercase letters refer to major. So it's a G major 7, different to a G7. So that's your second finger on the second fret across the bottom 3 strings. So we're covering the C, E and the A on the second fret there, not touching the top G string, and it's on the second fret, and you can either use your first or your second finger. I tend to use my second finger when I'm going to it from a G, just because my second finger's already at the top of that, and so I just flatten it. If I was playing it on its own, I'd probably use my first finger. But it's one of those things, it's a question of what are you playing before it. So where I'm playing a G immediately before, I'll keep my second finger on there. But on the chord diagram, I have marked it with your first finger. So you can choose whichever there. But in this song, I'm going to use my second finger for that. Then we go to an E7. So that's nice and easy. Our first finger on the first fret there on the G string at the top. And then our second and third finger on the second fret on the C and the A string there. So that's, I always like the E7. It's a nice sounding one and quite an easy one to play, really. From there we go to the A minor. Second finger, second fret, top string, nice and easy. Stay on the A minor, goes to the A minor 7. Well, that's hands free, nice and easy. You might not realise the difference really between the A minor and the A minor 7. You have to really listen for it. It's just the A minor 7 lifts slightly. If you just listen to the sound, just gets slightly higher. There's the A minor, and then the A minor 7 now. It's a subtle change, but it is a nice change. It just adds a little bit of depth to the song. Then we've got a D7. So second finger, basically the bar across the whole of the second fret there, but then you're going to have your third finger on the bottom A string on the third fret. So your second finger's only really got to cover the top 3 strings, but you might find it easier just to do a full bar and then your third finger on the third fret there. Yeah. E7, and then goes back to the G. Then we go to a G7. Now, I normally say this when we go from the G to the G7, you can leave your second finger in the same place. So G to G7. And I'm going to pivot my first and third finger, which are basically my third finger is going to come down to where my first finger was, and my first finger is going to come up here onto the first fret, G to G7. So I'm pivoting my first and third finger. My second finger stays all the while on that second fret on the C string. So as long as you remember that, it's actually quite easy to go from G to G7. So G to G7, Then we go to a C, nice and easy, no problem there. Then an A7, first finger, first fret, the C string. Back to the D7 and the G, E7, A minor, D7, G. And that's the song. So actually we've got about 8 different chords in there, and nothing too challenging at all. Just have a look at that G major 7, make sure you're happy with that one. Remember the A minor 7 is hands free, so don't be sort of scratching your head over that one. Once you got your head around that, the chords are really easy. Let's have a look at the strumming now, as there's a few different strumming patterns to make sure we're aware of. Right, for the strumming patterns, we've got 3 different patterns to be aware of. And the first one that we open with is a really nice drawn out pattern that I decided upon to really try and make this, to start with a bit of an instrumental, just by doing some really nice slow strumming and go through the chords for the full verse, and then we sing it afterwards. And it just creates a really nice instrumental verse. So we start off with a single down strum on your thumb, but really slowly across all 4 strings like this. Not quite like that. There we go. Try and get a really nice slow roll across the 4 strings. So one like that on with using our thumb. So you always get a slightly broader sound when you use your thumb. And then we switch to our index finger and we go down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So we do that for the whole verse to begin with. You'll see on the sheet music, the first box at the top there on the left, there's 2 parts to the verse. I have split the verse in half, but that is effectively one verse there, that first box. And we do it all without the words. So I haven't put the chords on the sheet. I've just said instrumental verse, but basically that full first verse, just don't sing the words, just do that strumming pattern with that down thumb and then that down, up, down, up, down, up, down. 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 So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you'll enjoy getting your head around that one. It's a really nice strumming pattern that's quite different to the ones we normally do. Okay, then when we do the main first playthrough, we're going to just we're going to sing with that same pattern. So we'll then start singing with that. When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. And then you can carry on with that until we get to the very last line. So I'll do the last couple of lines. Keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, we're going to do on the green 2 down strums for each one. So on the A minor and the D7. The whole world smiles with you. And then we go back to the thumb and then the finger for the last G. So if you look on that last line on the sheet music, you'll see I've color coded it in green, A minor and D7 in green, and that's just for 2 simple down strums. The whole world smiles with you. And then we go into the third verse, the second verse that we're singing, but the third verse, basically it's the same verse, there's only one verse, but we're doing the whole thing 3 times. First time instrumental, second time that long drawn out strumming pattern but with the singing, and then the third time we hit it with a full down, down, up, up, down, up. When you're smiling, when you're smiling, except you'll see on the pattern that there's a little blue circle underneath the second down arrow, and that's to signify that I want you to hit the top of the ukulele with your fingernail as you strum down for the second time. And we're going to do that with the index finger fingernail. There we go. We're just going to hit the top there on the lid as we strum down across the strings, and that just gives it a nice little beat and gives it a bit of energy to it. It sounds a little bit like this. When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. And you can feel straight away it's got a bit of liveliness to it, a bit of energy to it. You've just got to really be conscious of doing that. You've got to be really aware of wanting to do that, because it's probably quite natural. I think it's quite natural to be trying to avoid hitting your ukulele as you strum. You're probably subconsciously all the time trying to keep your fingers off the top of the ukulele to try and avoid doing that. But what we're going to do now is deliberately add that as a rhythmic effect and a bit of extra rhythm to the strumming pattern. So it's on the second down strum to give it that nice bit of timing, sort of offbeat timing. Well, it's the second beat of the 4 beats, but it just really works really nicely. So we're going to carry through with our finger and hit that lid. Whoops, that was on a C. Let's do it on a G. There we go. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain, so stop your sighing. Be happy again, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. And then, so if you look at the third verse on the sheet music, you'll see it's all in blue, but then I repeat the last line. I've slowed that penultimate line down. The whole world smiles with you. Slowing down there. Now we repeat the last line. The whole world, and the 2 down strums again in green, smiles with you. And we're back to the opening strumming pattern for the final G. So the final line of the song, we repeat the whole world smiles with you, and we do it with 2 down strums on the A minor and the D7, and then the full original strumming pattern on the G. The whole world smiles with you. And there we go. And then you can fade the song away. So if you have a look carefully at the sheet music, you're basically doing the same thing 3 times, as I said before. First time, just instrumental. Then we sing it with that. When you're smiling, smiling. And then the third time you hit it with the full down, down, up, down, up with that flick. When you're smiling, and then we slow it down at the end. The whole world smiles with you. And there we go. That's When You're Smiling. I hope you enjoyed that one. Take care.